Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at a engine light problem on this Pontiac Vibe. At the same time, we're going to do a little review on this MUCAR Auto Scanner. I've already used this a couple times. It's pretty cool because it's got immediate live data on it. And so this also has, in addition to that, freeze frame data, so you can pull up your freeze frame data and see, and we're going to talk about what that is. So when I plug it in, I'm going to push this freeze frame. It'll tell us what the RPMs are, when it happened, when the engine light came on. And that data that you look on that is going to give you the best information as to what might be going on with the car. So in addition to that, it does live data that's immediate. So in my other scanners, I have to plug them in, and then I have to load up all the different types of things that I want it to check, and then I look at all the live data for that, and it takes a lot more time. This one's plug it in, immediate live data. It's really neat as far as that goes. Scanners like this are usually about $400, and this one's in the $100 range. So this one is kind of cool. There's a link in the description for it. So anyway, let's get started. Hopefully you'll be able to see this where we're at out there. Maybe I'll pull it inside so we can see it a little bit better and check all the information on there. Talk to you guys a little bit later in the video. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'll bring you up close. So we'll go to, this has diagnose scan. I don't know what that is, but we have, I'm looking, code and freeze frame. So it goes to freeze frame. It usually does very, very quickly. The battery's only at 30%. So really quickly it says this is what the freeze frame was when it happened. Throttle position was at 35 point. Okay, airflow from the mass airflow was at 33. Calculated load value, this is what, I guess what it was at when it was doing it. The code was P741. Coolant temperature was 190. Engine RPM was at 2800. So I'm going to assume that this happened while it was at cruise speed. And so that's what it says. You know, it was at 2800 RPM. She was probably on the freeway, and then the code hit. Engine RPM was here. Calculated load value. To see what that means. And then airflow rate from the mass airflow sensor was this. So I guess 33. Okay, so what you can do now is go to live data. So actually we're going to go back to, again, code, and we're just going to go to what the code is. This is GM. Well, this is a Toyota, so, but, 741 torque converter clutch circuit performance. So what the code was for is it wasn't going into, the torque converter wasn't locking. So that's what the problem was. Before, I was getting another code on this car for, it was actually lean, it said lean bank 1. I've already fixed that. That was actually from the intake manifold gasket, so that did fix the problem. Because what I would look at on here, I'm going to just explain to you how I did that so you kind of know how this works. I looked on here and I went onto the scan. I actually didn't use the scanner, I used a different one, which was a lot more, took me twice as much time. And I went to the scan, up to the code, freeze, the freeze frame, and it said basically at idle, at 900 RPMs, the temperature and everything else showed to me that it was at idle, it was running too lean. And that's what I came up with, is it had to be running lean from something. I checked all the hoses, vacuum hoses and all that. Everything was good. But what I found that the problem is it had to be intake manifold, because I noticed it had a little bit of a misfire at idle. So it makes it a lot easier when you have one of these scanners. So let's take a look at, so I think that code will probably not happen again. That happened, it might have been just a transmission glitch, but if it keeps happening, then I'll have to change. Probably there's a lockup solenoid for the transmission, and that's probably given some issues right now. So and that's not a hard, I'm not sure on this car how hard it is to replace that, but on a lot of cars it's pretty easy. Just a little piece you change on the outside of the transmission. I'll look at that and I'll get back to it in the video. Maybe later I'll explain that. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about this scanner and what it does. So you can go to here, which is really cool, live data stream, and it's, it takes a few seconds for it to load, but not very long. Usually it does it right when I do it. Is it still thinking? And it's still charging the battery. It's actually charging the battery from the car. I didn't know it did that. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Yeah, little glitchy, but it's fine. Look at how immediate all this stuff is. So if you look here, airflow, it's immediate. It's actually, let me zoom you guys in. You can see, rev the engine up, airflow, calculated load value, coolant temperature, engine RPM 850. Yeah, there's everything you can imagine on this scanner right here. Is immediate live data. So if you've got a misfire, you can see it happening right as it's happening on here. If you've got you can look at your coolant oxygen sensor numbers right now live, so you can determine if you've got a bad catalytic converter, things like that pretty easily. I believe I did it on my diesel. It also does it does a lot of diesel stuff as well. So it's really kind of neat that you get that live data to be able to diagnose anything. It also, if you pay a little bit extra, it's like the base comes with all those things that we've done so far. If you pay a little bit extra, you can get the one that does the, they went ahead and gave it to me, but you can check ABS stuff right along with this. And you can also check readiness with this too. So I can't remember where I found that, but you can go to, was it in live stream? Maybe you guys saw it and I didn't. But you can look here for readiness. What readiness means is, has it been driven long enough to go through all the tests, and what it does is, it goes through all the tests, so it tests this EGR, tests the oxygen sensor, tests all these things, right? And when it goes through all these tests, and it usually takes about 50 or 60 miles, then it will say that the car is ready. And this also does readiness checking as well. So you have this here, another way to look at the data if you want, if you didn't like the view of the other one. It's pretty cool. Really neat machine, really happy with it. It's exactly what I was looking for, and like I said, it's in the $100 range. There's not a lot of them that do all this for $100. Like $140, it does ABS, and I think, what was the other thing? Airbag. I think you can do your airbag resets and stuff with it. So what's this? So you got, this one didn't have all the stuff in here for, air. It doesn't, this computer is only, that's not a full CAN bus. This thing also does CAN bus, so if you have a Volkswagen, it does that as well. You notice we got the voltage. So right here, as we're just running the engine, we can look here, it says 13.2. So you don't even need to get a voltmeter out to check, you know. Let's rev it up a little bit, see if it goes up to 14. 14.2 is charging. So, let me look at some other things, I'll bring it back. So it's kind of cool, it actually pulls the VIN. Another thing you do, so then you can show here the OBD2 code, torque converter clutch circuit, stuck off, so it's not locking up. So I'm gonna find out why, and you can just go on the internet and research that. You'll find information on that code and be able to fix it, because that's actually a pretty easy code. The ones that are more difficult are things like the engine running lean, things like that, and this is a great tool for that. So like I said, I have the Auto Ingenuity, you know, full scanner with GM and all that in it. I have some of the others, but it's just takes so much time when I'm trying to do just a quick check to find out what the live data is going on, to try and, like, you know, if you've got a sensor that's, you know, reading too hot or zero, you can see it right away by just going to the live screen data and just scrolling through and going, oh wow, well, the sensor's reading 0 temperature, so that tells you right away what's wrong. So it has this also the O2 sensor test that you can do. So it'll tell you the test value. It says okay. So that's kind of cool. Sometimes figuring out lean situations are a little difficult, and one of these immediate ones is pretty cool to do all that. So yeah, for the 100, you know, it's in the $100 range. It might be a little less, might just slightly more depending on inflation. But you know, for what you get, that's something this fast. It's so small and nice and portable that you can read everything pretty easily. I think it's a pretty good value if you're looking for something like that. So anyway, I did figure out the problem with this. I'm going to go to the codes and let's see. I can reset them. Where is it? Find it and bring it right back. Duh, the big buckets is an erase. It's going to erase the codes. Oh, is the engine light off? Looks like I turned it off, yeah. So I cleared the codes, and then I'm going to check and see what that solenoid is. Maybe I'll bring it back in and I'll tell you what I found. Well, that's it for this. I think the lockup solenoid either has issues or it just tricked once. I'll just let it run for a little bit and then see if that fixes the problem. But the MUCAR really worked amazing. You know, if you guys are looking for those things, I want to check that one out. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.